The Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli, 4.2 kilometres in length, 16 corners, 10 of them right, 6 of them left. 2 short straights, some slow corners, change of direction, and then the super fast Sector 3, turns 11, 12 and 13. The best race lap belongs to Dovi, but the outright lap record was destroyed yesterday by the man on pole position. The main overtaking hotspot is right here. This was last year in the battle between Marc Marquez and Fabio Quartararo. Marc going on to win that one. But coming up shortly in MotoGP, can anyone stop the Yamahas? Maverick Viñales is on pole, looking for his first win of 2020. Frankie's pretty relaxed coming into this one. It's a home race for the Italian as he looks to hit the reset button after Styria. The World Championship leader is also on the front row, starting third, and has some menacing pace. And it will be all eyes on the doctor. Can Valentino Rossi make it 200 podiums here at home? Good afternoon and welcome to Misano in Rimini, just off the Adriatic coast for the Lenovo Grand Prix of San Marino. Just as it was this time yesterday, 29-degree air temperature, 41 on track. There's a bit of a breeze, which seems to be picking up and then going away in stages, but the weather really couldn't be better for an afternoon of motorcycle racing in what has been a truly remarkable 2020 season since we came back post-lockdown. We've had our biggest break, I suppose you could call it a summer break, 2 weeks off, but it's about to get busy. 9 races coming up in 11 weeks. We've had a high rate of attrition so far this year. Francesco Bagnaia, Pecco as he's fondly known, just still using that crutch on his return back to the championship. He'll be lining up on the second row of the grid coming up. For MotoGP here in Misano, Steve Day, Matt Burt, Simon Crafar then to talk you through the main event of the weekend. And the big question, Matt, as we come into this one, it seems, based on everything we've seen so far, is does anyone have an answer for the Yamahas?
At the moment, it doesn't look like that's the case, does it, Steve? Yamaha locking out the top 4 in qualifying yesterday for the first modern MotoGP era. The first time that's happened since the Portuguese Grand Prix staged at Jerez in Spain way back in 1988. You've got to say it's been a terrific job actually so far this weekend by the man we just looked at, Pecco Bagnaia, on that Pramac Ducati. Qualified in 6th place yesterday, still nowhere near fully fit after that broken leg he suffered on Friday in Brno about 5 weeks ago. And Pecco Bagnaia confident that he can keep his place inside that top 10. Difficult 26 is coming up in these baking hot conditions, but he's done an outstanding job. Second best Ducati behind teammate Jack Miller on the grid.
Maverick Viñales then will be starting on pole position here for this Grand Prix, but this is the young man with the championship lead somehow after 3 dismal rounds over in Czech Republic and Austria. 3 points his advantage over Andrea Dovizioso. Great rhythm so far. If you're tuning in for the first time since this morning warm-up, you would have seen some sort of moment with his left hand. He was looking down at it. It's nothing, there's no dramas. It was just stitching coming away from his race glove. But it's going to be interesting today. Many people's favourite for the race win, I think it's fair to say.
Certainly based on his race pace yesterday, in FP3 and FP4 looked very good. 18th front row start in MotoGP coming the way. Quartararo started of course 3rd here last year as well, and a battle royale with Marc Marquez for the victory. Quartararo started 3rd last year. This man started pole last year, and that's where he started. 27 lap race here today. Second pole position in the last 3 races for Maverick Viñales. No win from pole though here in Misano since Danny Pedrosa back on the Repsol Honda 10 years ago now in 2010. But this man, right from the first exit on Friday morning in FP1, has been buzzing. Loves this new surface despite a few aggressive bumps. The Yamaha does not have the same issues absorbing those bumps as some manufacturers like Ducati and Honda. And Maverick Viñales out to enjoy himself in the Italian sunshine. He said, don't really care where I finish as long as I enjoy the race. Not too sure how much I believe him on that one.
No, he's 22 points down in the championship. He's not actually won a race from pole himself since Le Mans 2017. Here is Franco Morbidelli then. He'll be lining up second on the grid, and that's a great effort here at home when you consider what he'd been through in the last 3 or 4 weeks. That horrifying crash in Austria really affected him going into the Styrian Grand Prix. He said he needed to have a couple of weeks off just to hit the reset button, and it seems he's done just that, starting on the front row for the 6th time in his career, looking for podium number 2 of 2020.
Yeah, really strong recovery after a disastrous 2 races in Austria for Franco Morbidelli. Decent run inside the top 6 here last year on his 100th Grand Prix start. Great day, wasn't it, 1 year ago for Yamaha here in Misano. They were the 4 places behind Marc Marquez, and here is the man who is adored in this part of the world, Valentino Rossi. His home Grand Prix. Can he make it a milestone double century of podiums today? 199 podiums in the Premier class this man has racked up. He would love to do it in front of a small home crowd here today, but you can hear they are small in number, but still making plenty of noise as their hero comes to the sanctuary of the Monster Energy Yamaha garage. The socially distanced fans in the special Valentino Rossi grandstand still saw the Valentino Rossi official merchandise stores outside the circuit doing fairly brisk business so far this weekend. And what a performance yesterday, topping that FP3 session.
Forever young, isn't he, Valentino Rossi, aged 41, and you think that he's on the brink of retirement. Of course, there were some rumours coming into the weekend. There's absolutely nowhere he's going. He made that quite clear. Sad signs and sights here for Honda. Of course, with no Marc Marquez, it gets worse. Cal Crutchlow, unfortunately declared unfit, withdrawn from this Grand Prix. We'll miss next week as well. The arm pump post-stop has just not gone well at all. They cannot get rid of the swelling or the water retention in that arm, and there's fear of infection. And so the wisest thing to do was to say, Cal, sorry, but we'll see you in Barcelona. So we send our best wishes to Cal, who I'm sure is probably listening to us right now.
Yeah, Honda's horror show rolls on, doesn't it, in 2020. No clear sign of when Marc Marquez will definitely be back in MotoGP action. Some people saying it will be Motul and Aragon mid to the end of October at the earliest. Well, young and old love Valentino Rossi, don't they? And that young man, I think it's fair to say he's a Rossi fan. He's got the cap, he's got the headphones, he's got the t-shirt. He is properly fully decked out in a bit of VR46 kit, that young man, isn't he?
Great to see, great to see. And well, he'll be hoping that his man can deliver 200 podiums here today. If there is going to be an upset, then Jack Miller could certainly pose a threat. A cheeky wink there from him. Free practice 4 yesterday, a chance, Matt, where you look to see who's got the pace, was disastrous for Jack Miller. But then he managed to really salvage something in qualifying yesterday. 5th on the grid he will start, and if he can get that Ducati launched off the line, he certainly could mix it in the early stages.
Yeah, he's quite keen to pick a fight with those 4 Yamahas ahead of him. Wants to try and use the famed Ducati hole shot device. Even Fabio Quartararo called it the Miller rocket launcher. He was wary about Miller coming from behind. And now we're getting the wave, yeah. Great day. Great day for every fan actually to come through the gates here today in Misano, because they've had to be so patient. This is the first time all season long that fans have been allowed to come through the turnstiles because of the global pandemic. And it's been great to see. The rides have loved it, we've loved it. Some semblance of normality coming back in what's been a very difficult 2020.
Are the dark horses today right here in front of us? That's Manu, the crew chief on the right, just talking through some last minute information to Alex Rins, who himself, Matt, you were saying this morning in warm-up, feels confident, and a couple of riders have mentioned his name as well in the fight for the podium.
To race in MotoGP, you never lack self-confidence or self-belief, and Alex Rins certainly has both in abundance coming into this Misano race, because he said yesterday, and I quote, I think in terms of race rhythm there's only one man faster than me, and that's Fabio Quartararo. So talking up his prospects, big style, was Alex Rins. A bit of work to do in 7th place. It's going to be critical that he doesn't get stuck behind Miller and Bagnai's Ducati for too long.
Speaking of Ducatis, this is a big day coming up. What to expect from Andrea Dovizioso? That's the FIM president just going in the garage there, Jorge Villegas. But Dovi has got some work on the table here today. 9th on the grid, 2nd in the World Championship. It's looking very much damage limitation here at a circuit that they were winners on 2 years ago, but they've looked nothing like putting together a package that can compete for victory here today. You get the feeling coming into this race, and it's just so bizarre, isn't it? Because in Austria, the win, it's just so up and down and inconsistent for Andrea Dovizioso. But you just get the feeling that anything in the top 5 or 6 today, he would take. We are, of course, celebrating 30 million followers on social media. Thank you so much for that. Getting a few more added on if this guy pulls off some magic here today.
Yeah, you'll hear the roof lifted off many hotel and buildings around this region. If Valentino Rossi can find a way to take a 90th career victory. Here he comes with that one-off helmet design, which he always unveils on home turf. I wonder if he's going to have another one next Saturday.
That's a good point, actually, yeah.
I bet he will do.
Probably. You have to wonder, don't you, on paper, we mentioned this a lot, pace-wise, as he waves to his adoring fans, it doesn't look like he's got the match of Fabio Quartararo or Maverick Viñales, but so often in his career, his illustrious career, he's found something a bit extra on a Sunday afternoon, and with the motivation that he must be feeling right now, this is what he comes racing for. Yeah. Sundays like this, 4th on the grid, this must give him such a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
And when you're in this kind of cocoon like we are, in the bubble like we are because of the COVID-19, you kind of get a little bit, not blasé, but you kind of forget just how special it is to have fans in the grandstand. And that was just a reminder there of just how much we missed people coming through the gates to cheer on their heroes. That was a brilliant, awesome sight. That'll warm the hearts of a lot of people all around the world right now. Certainly Valentino Rossi seemed to appreciate it.
Yeah, love that. These are the tyres then, and Michelin have done a fantastic job here. They would have been pleased to see the back of Austria, that's for sure. A demanding circuit for the tyre manufacturer, but right now on the grid we are expecting a proper mix. Every single front and rear tyre could be used here in this MotoGP race, and that's unheard of. So congrats to them. But what will they all be fighting on? That
looked like Maverick Viñales on the yellow banded hard rear tyre, didn't it? It did look like all 3 rear tyres were perfectly raceable options.
What's going on here with Maverick Viñales? Now, is there some sort of concern here on the outlap?
Something's grabbed his attention. He's having a chat with crew chief Esteban Garcia.
What is up here? Is there fluid? We might have to see if we can get Simon to check that out. I'm sure Simon at the moment is on the grid just waiting to speak to 1 or 2 team managers, but hopefully there's not a big problem here for Maverick Viñales, who starts from pole position. They don't look to be sort of...
No, they're all having a good look at it, aren't they?
Well, the front fairing's coming off.
Yeah. Just releasing the belly pan, aren't they, here? Just to have a look at it.
Well, you can see Simon Crayfield's actually right next to him talking to Maverick right now. Simon, what's the situation? Well, hopefully we'll get something shortly, but...
Guys, yeah, I spoke with Maverick. He said there's smoke coming out there. That's what the mechanics are seeing now. So obviously something leaked a little, and yeah, it's smoking.
Well, the thing is, thanks for that, Simon. You know the first thing that comes to your head there, don't you, Matt? And that's going to be the panic, is the fact that Yamaha had those engine issues across Spain, which went away, luckily, when we went to Brno and Austria.
Talk about something to throw you off kilter just before the start of a MotoGP race.
It's not in your head before you're starting a MotoGP race, that's for sure. Certainly not from pole position.
Well, let's fingers crossed for Maverick Viñales and for Yamaha and for the spectacle we all think this race will be, that Maverick Viñales has no technical issues in this race. Now, we heard about how Alex Rins thinks he's got a great chance of fighting for the podium, possibly for the victory here today in this MotoGP race. Starting from row 3 are both of the factory Suzukis, Rins 7th and Joan Mir 8th. We can hear about the pre-race thoughts of their team boss, Davide Brivio. He's on the grid with Simon.
Davide, although the Yamahas look extra strong here, Misano, I know your bike's good on fuel, good on tyre, conservation, and it sounds like, listening to Alex Rins speak, that he seems quite confident doing something. What do you think?
Yeah, we're quite confident as far as concerned the pace. We think we have a good pace, a pace that can allow us to compete and maybe stay together with the What is worries a little bit is the starting position, because here is quite a difficult track to overtake, and so the start will be very important. So we have to see how we will come out from the first couple of laps. And then I think, okay, Yamaha's been very strong, maybe Quartararo is stronger and Viñales stronger than anybody else, but I don't know, I'm curious to see, interested. Maybe not, but I think we can try to stay there if we are in a good position.
A rider or two has mentioned to me that they think it's also going to come down to tyre choice because there's so many possibilities for the race.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Tyre choice. If riders have mentioned to me that it could come down to that.
Yeah, I think we will see probably all the tires here, all the 3 rear tires, different choice between all the riders, and we will see. At the moment, looks like the Yamaha, they're going on hard, probably the only one, I don't know, on a paper. Then somebody maybe is hiding the last minute choice. Let's see what's happening when everybody will take out the tire warmers.
Thank you, Davide.
Yeah, thanks very much to Davide. This is continuing here, and this is a concern. We just saw Maverick Viñales there shaking his head a little. He's got to try and take himself away from it now and pray that there's nothing wrong, but there seems to be quite a bit of panic going on here. They're a little bit worried, aren't they, about what's perhaps... I mean, it could be something just so simple. It could be just something leaking and it's not a problem at all. But because of what's happened and the most recent history, there will be some concern. And how can it not get in your head?
Yeah, this will be particularly off-putting, won't it, at this stage? Maverick Viñales has got to trust his mechanics and block it all out. Love that shot of the overhead helicopter in Misano. Even that's yellow in this part of the world, isn't it?
Here is Alex Rins then, fighting from 7th position. Now it's going to be key that they use that starting device to good effect here. Both Rins and Joan Mir starting 7th and 8th. Up ahead of them, they've got the 2 Pramac Ducatis. Now it looks like the fairing's back on that Monster Energy Yamaha. Fingers crossed that there's no problems with that. Here is Pecco Bagnaia then. The big question mark for him, we know he's got the speed. He was very quick in warm-up this morning, by the way, as well. Is what happens over 27 laps. That's the key.
Yeah, he's done nothing like at all this weekend as he's tried to conserve a bit of energy, specifically to be as fit as he possibly can for this 27-lap battle. Here's Joan Mir, well, by his own admission, not quite as hot as he was in both Austrian Grand Prix, of course, on course for his first win when that red flag came out with Maverick Viñales' pretty well publicised front brake issues. Mir 4th in the restart, having not had a new front tyre to go with in the second leg. He's in 8th place, pretty confident and optimistic in terms of his race rhythm. Not really had the pace of the Yamahas in time attack mode this weekend, but Mir always puts on a show on Sundays, doesn't he?
Riviera di Rimini, so many seaside resorts around here, with the towns of Riccione and Cattolica as well, where most of the paddock is staying. It's just 10-15 minute drive in from here. So popular with tourists.
Yeah, there's been some beautiful early autumn weather down in this part of the world. Looks like we're well set as well for another scorcher next weekend, so the weather gods have been smiling on us so far on the Adriatic coast. Now, is everything okay? All dandy down in Yamaha for Maverick Viñales. Doesn't look like anybody's panicking too much.
Now on the second row of the grid then are the 2 Pramac Ducati riders, Jack Miller and Pecco Bagnaia. Can they upset Yamaha's rhythm here today? Let's find out more information. Francesco Guidotti's been good enough to spend some time with Simon on the grid.
Yeah, we're actually hoping to get a quick word with Jack if he comes back from the bathroom soon enough. Meantime, let's check with Francesco. Tell us, what do you think that it's possible for your guys to do on the Ducatis today? And is Pecco okay race distance-wise recovering from that injury?
Yeah, that's the biggest question mark about Pecco is the race distance. 5 weeks of non-activity will be tough for him, especially in this circuit. But I think his feeling is good, and this will give him the right motivation to go ahead.
And Jack's looked really strong, like the whole weekend. What do you think what do you think's realistic?
Difficult to say. The contenders are very strong. There's all the Yamahas, also the 2 Suzukis, and some Ducati. will be fighting for the same target. So we'll see. It's as usual as we get used in the last races. The fight will be tough and long because 28 laps will be 27. Sorry, will be a lot.
Okay, best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Francesco Guidotti. Further down the grid, we saw Andrea Dovizioso start 9th, ahead of Zarco. Anything in the top 10 for Zarco today would be good. He's really struggling with that wrist a bit here, despite his speed being okay. And then we saw the Aprilias of Pol Espargaro and Miguel Oliveira.
And also a quick glimpse of Taka Nakagami, who was way down the grid in 14th place. The Honda struggling on the aggressive bumps around this newly resurfaced Misano track. But Nakagami was quickest in this morning session for warm-up. There's Aleix Espargaro. He's going from 13th place. Can Aprilia beat their previous best here? A 10th for Alvaro Bautista in 2016. Simon, back to you on the grid. No, sorry, I thought Simon was trying to come back in. There is Jack Millen.
Yeah, let's go down to Simon. He's got Maio Meregali. Let's find out. Well, surely Meregali's hoping that all three will be on the podium here today. Is it as easy as that? Down to Simon on the grid.
Mayo, I want to know if you feel the same as me. There's a chance that we'll see Valentino being on the podium today, or better. And give us your thoughts on both your riders, and also about the little problem Maverick had coming to the line.
First of all, we really got a bit of panic because when the Maverick arrived we saw some smoke, but anyway it was nothing, just some lubricant that we spray in the garage. And anyway, you make me some difficult question to answer because you know, you can't predict anything, especially in the race day. But we have, I think, all the cards to play with for a good result, and I think Valentino most likely changed the rear tire choice on the grid.
We heard he just went to medium.
Well, you will see by yourself. And Maverick stick on his decision. I think Maverick has quite confidence on what he choose, and it's really important for him to have a really good start. And then maybe he can try to manage the first few laps. But then the race will be long, and I think who will be able to manage the tire until the end will have a big probability to win the race.
Thank you, Mayo.
You're welcome.
Wow, well there you go, Matt. A last-minute tyre decision change for Valentino Rossi on the grid. He's not the type of rider that tends to do that often.
No, good news for Vinales. Panic over for him with that smoke pouring out of that Yamaha as he came to the grid. Now that is really interesting because the provisional tyre sheet released by Michelin a few moments ago said that the only two riders on the grid that were going for the hard rear tyre were the Monster Energy Yamaha men, Maverick Vinales and Valentino Rossi, which means if Rossi's dropped down to the medium, Vinales left field a bit there. He'll be the only man, I think, at this stage that's plumping for that hard rear tyre. Now, how much of a gamble is that for Vinales? He obviously thinks that's the best option over the longer distance. How long will it take to come in at the start of the race? 2 or 3 laps? Was saying that potentially would need to get up to optimum working temperature, but yeah, Vinales out on a limb a little bit there.
Interesting, won't it? Really interesting. Here is your Brno race winner from earlier on this season. Struggling again on a Saturday afternoon, Brad Binder. 16th on the grid, but he fires up on a Sunday. Expect him to be hard charging on the opening few laps. Here comes Fabio Quartararo onto the grid, then it's such a big day for him and Franco Morbidelli and the Petronas Yamaha SRT team. What are the thoughts then of Wilco Zeelenberg? Can both of his men be on the top 2 steps here today? Down to Simon.
Yeah, Fabio, the most gorgeous Dutch umbrella lady in the name of Wilco Zeelenberg, and he's just handing over that job. Wilco, I think today is one of the best opportunities for having 2 of your machines on the podium, and I want to know what you feel about that. Is it possible?
Yeah, you're right. I think both have a good pace, but of course it's always racing, but I have never seen them so consistent, so fast. Of course we have been before on the first row with both boys, and it always ends up in tears, and I hope this time we can change that.
Okay. And is there a few last-minute tyre changes, or your guys are confident with what they have? I know it's been difficult to choose.
Yeah, no, we're quite confident. Of course, there's a little bit more wind, and that also influence the tire temperature and the behavior of the tires, but it didn't change our mind.
Best of luck, Wilco.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks, Wilco. Yeah, has that slight increase in the wind influenced Rossi's decision? Will it perhaps not be cooling that hard rear tyre? Morbidelli and Quartararo, they're going identical choices, or they came to the grid with identical choices, that's for sure. Hard front tyres, medium rear tyres for the two Petronas SRT boys.
Franco Morbidelli with that great message on his helmet. He explained beautifully yesterday what that was all about in these times, a message of equality, and I think everybody fully respected him in this. It was a fantastic 2 minutes from the man in the press room yesterday.
Whenever he retires, there's a career in politics and public speaking beckoning for Franco Morbidelli, that's for sure. Quite a nice, pleasant, gorgeous afternoon out on the boat.
Yeah, it's Nick Harris enjoying himself there out by the seaside.
Yeah, just pouring himself another glass of champers. Yeah, beautiful day to be out on a boat on the Adriatic coast. And we can find out exactly about the latest tyre information. It looks like there are going to be 5 of the 6 slick tyres chosen for this 27-lap Misano Grand Prix. Let's find out exactly what's going on the grid, because Michelin Motorsport manager Piero Taramasso is with Simon.
Piero, regarding tyre choice, it's a bit more exciting than usual. Can you give us an idea what's happening? We've seen a couple of changes, Valentino one of them.
Yes, we had a couple of changes of the last minutes. Valentino changed because he want to ride with the rear hard, and then he changed to the medium. So at this moment only Maverick is with the rear hard. Then you have the Valentino, then Petronas, KTM with the rear medium, and then you have all the Ducati and the Honda with the rear soft.
And front-wise, is there a bit of a mix there as well?
Yeah, front-wise a little bit of mix, mainly is hard front, because here in Misano you brake a lot, a long time, and also the front tire it doesn't rest too much, you cannot cool down the front, so most of them are with the hard. With the medium you have, I think, Valentino, Maverick, Mir, another rider, that's it. All the rest is with the front hard. Again, they have just to be careful on the left for the first lap, and then we'll be okay for all the race.
Thank you, Piero.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks for that bang up-to-date information as well from Piero Taramasso from Michelin. So Maverick Viñales will take a punt. He's the only man that will start this Misano Grand Prix on that Michelin hard rear tyre.
You can see the breeze picking up there. Look at the umbrella there just above German rider Stefan Bradl. Most peculiar because it's boiling hot here, just under 30 degrees. You can kind of see, can't you, with that breeze, why Rossi's decided to go for the medium rear. Here's Bradley Smith then. Great memories 5 years ago here in Misano, in slightly different weather conditions, I think it's fair to say, as he was on the podium. That was his last MotoGP podium. Actually had a pretty solid weekend pace-wise as Bradley Smith, so could be on for some points today.
Yeah, running a few experimental parts as well for Aprilia as they try and bridge the gap to the front in the MotoGP World Championship, their crucial home Grand Prix, of course. Tough, humbling weekend so far for the Moto2 World Champion, unfortunately. The Honda just has not worked at all over the aggressive bumps on this new Misano circuit. Makes the bike unpredictable and very nervous for Alex Marquez, who's trying to build up some confidence as a rookie as well. He finds himself at the back of the grid on the Repsol Honda. It's been an forgettable weekend for HRC, a pretty forgettable 2020 so far, hasn't it, as the Petronas Yamaha SRT boys doing everything they can to keep their man Quartararo cool. They've got the fan down the back of the neck. It's pretty hot down there on the grid.
Nice. Damage limitation day potentially for Ducati. Danilo Petrucci looked like he's having a good Friday, but yesterday it went wrong. He's 15th, but more importantly, Dovi second in the World Championship from 9th. What's the best they can hope for here today? On the grid is Simon with Davide Tardozzi.
Yeah, same idea, Steve. Davide, what are you hoping your riders, especially Dovi, can rescue today?
I think that the choice we make with the soft on the back, I think that is a bit risky. The first row is for sure in hard or medium tire, so we see if the range of the temperature that this tire range, it will be good for us. This morning was not so bad. He found a good feeling after having trouble on Friday and Saturday, but I guess that we have our chance.
Thank you, Davide.
Yep.
Okay, so Dovi going for the soft trying to get himself in the mix early on and hoping that there's no drop. There haven't really been any major signs of drop, although Ducatis have struggled a bit more than anyone else in terms of that so far this weekend. Here is your front row then. Never before in MotoGP history has there been 4 Yamahas on the top 4 spaces, and as you can see there, and as we've just been speaking about, the only rider to go for the hard rear is Maverick Vinales. He's gone for the medium front tyre as well. Will that play a big part in today's race? The World Championship leader Fabio Quartararo here, many people's favourite, 3rd on the grid. Morbidelli looking for podium number 2, but could it be win number 1 in MotoGP for the cool and calm Italian with the Brazilian roots? And on pole position, Maverick Vinales, not won since Sepang last year, and if he wants to fight for this World Championship, it needs to come today from pole position. We are ready for action here in MotoGP for the Grand Prix of Misano.
It's time for a MotoGP melee in Misano for the first time in the modern era. 4 Yamahas lock out the top 4 on the grid, although the Iwata factory winless here in Misano since Valentino Rossi's success 6 years ago in 2014. Vinales, Morbidelli and Quartararo, that is your front row. Interesting though, Maverick Vinales, the only man in the field that is starting with the Michelin yellow banded hard rear tyre. Is that a gamble that's going to pay off? A late switch for Rossi in 4th place. He tries to make it 200 Premier class podiums. Keep an eye on the 2 Pramac Ducatis, Miller and Bagnaia going from row 2 as well. The 2 Suzukis as well, they pose a threat from row 3 in the hands of Rins and Joan Mir, and you can never discount Undaunted Dovi as he goes with that soft rear tyre from the back of the 3rd row.
Interestingly, 3rd on the grid here for El Diablo. He has that inside line going into turn 1. They will all initiate the launch control systems, those ride height adjusters, and they're all on exactly the same